Hello guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. If I'm audible, just let me know. Audible. Okay, thank you so much guys. Actually, I haven't been feeling well for the past 1 or 2 days. As a result, I wasn't able to take the class yesterday. But somehow, today I thought that we need to take the class for today, right? Still getting better, but not up to the fitness that I need to have, let's say, right? But we will continue our sessions, right? Chaliye. Let's start the session for today. Might be the speed of my speaking would be slow, so bear with me because I have a little bit of we can say throat problem as well, right? So let's start the session for today. Now, the most important news that we have on our front page is related to the ever going problem between the government of Tamil Nadu and the governor. Now, in this context, I think everybody knows that Tamil Nadu had moved to Supreme Court related to governor not taking any action on the bills that have been repassed by them. Now, one of the things that you have to understand is when we talk about law making process, it is the legislature or the elected government that formulates the law, which is then passed to the nominal head of the state, which is the governor, so that it could become an act. If governor thinks that there are certain things that need to be relooked at, so governor can resend the bill, not in the case of money bill, but in the case of other bills. If government resends those bills and the elected government or the party in power again passes the bill, then Supreme Court has said in this context, it shall be treated like a money bill. There is no discretion on the governor that it can withhold their assent to the bill. वो withhold assent नहीं रख सकते हैं to the repassed bills. Once it has been repassed, governor can't withhold the repassed bills. And this has been said by our Chief Justice of India in context of this particular problem which is going on between governor and the elected government of Tamil Nadu. आई थिंक ये अवेयरनेस सबको है कि ये जो इशू है वो सिर्फ तमिलनाडु के बीच में नहीं चल रहा, बल्कि वो अगर हम बात करें केरला के बीच में भी चल रहा है, राइट? सो देयर गवर्नमेंट्स हैव आल्सो मूव टू द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. बट when we talk about Tamil Nadu, it has been explicitly stated by our Chief Justice of India that these bills have been pending since January 2020. The governor took action only after we issued notice in the matter. Why should governor want parties to move the Supreme Court to start taking steps? So these are the very big statements which are coming directly from the Chief Justice of India, which highlights the problem that is there in the office of governor, which is right now somehow could be seen as that they are working as agents of the center, right? They are working as the pleasure of the president, as we know as well, but they are working as the agent of the center. The governor role shall be to facilitate the smooth governance rather than obstructing and hindering the governance, right? Now, it is very a high time that there needs to be serious look into the reforms of the office of the governor so that there is a greater synchronization between the elected governments and the governor when we talk about not only in the case of Tamil Nadu but in each and every state. See, if India wants to become the third largest economy, India wants to touch $10 trillion economy mark, then one thing we have to understand, it can only be done as a collective effort of the states. It could be done only after the collective effort of the states. And if collective effort of states, that is what we want, then there needs to be a coherence between states as well and within a state as well. Then only we can realize the true potential of, let's say, achieving a particular GDP number that we have thought in our mind that would be leading us to our economic growth. So these things are all very interrelated. So one of the things that we have to understand is that this position of governor, which is sometimes been misused in certain scenarios, has to be relooked into it, and there needs to be a proper we can say a common dialogue that has to come, that what shall be the role of a governor, that how shall a governor work, right? Supreme Court has said again and again, but it is now, I think, a high time a certain reforms needs to be undertaken in the very first instance, that how the position of the governor or the office of the governor or the position a person is being given, the position of governorship is being selected. I hope this part is clear to you guys. Now, China is the biggest security anxiety for India and Australia. Now, I think everybody knows that these defense and foreign ministers had their 2+2 ministerial dialogue, right? So they said that no doubt China is our biggest trading partner as well. When we talk about India and Australia, China सबसे बड़ा trading partner है. बट चाइना उनका बिगेस्ट सिक्योरिटी एंजाइटी भी है. ये दोनों के प्राइम मिनिस्टर से, अगर हम बात करें, डिफेंस मिनिस्टर्स और एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर ने, दोनों ने यही चीज को, लेट्स से, दे हैव रेपिटेडली सेड अगेन एंड अगेन that this is China is the biggest security anxiety. I think everybody knows India has a positional, we can say, border issues with them along line of actual control, and Australia advocates for free and open Indo-Pacific strategy policy, and as a result what China has been doing in Indo-Pacific region, that is quite evident. So as a result, when we talk about China, Australia has always said that they want a free rules based order in the Indo-Pacific region. So as a result, in make sure that they are countering the China in this region of South China Sea and Indo-Pacific region, they had in 2021 formed an alliance with UK and USA. That was an AUKUS alliance. I think सबने पढ़ा होगा AUKUS. That is an AUKUS alliance. It is very, very important because AUKUS alliance is basically providing the nuclear submarine power to Australia, which is directly, we can say, the interest of the West, that they want to contain China in this day and light and in this day and age, because what is we are witnessing is that one superpower has been America, but the second major superpower that is just now emerging as well, that is China. And when we talk about the growth story of China, it has been quite remarkable since the time of 1980s कि किस तरह से चाइना ने अपने आप को डेवलप किया, अमेरिका की मदद लेके धीरे धीरे अपनी इकोनॉमिक्स को इतना स्ट्रेंथन किया कि आज वो पॉलिटिकल एक सुपर पावर बन चुका है. एंड नाउ इफ वी सी एट अ ग्लोबल लेवल, एट अ वेरी मैक्रो लेवल, देन देयर आर ओनली टू रीजनल सुपर पावर्स दैट वी हैव. One is Australia and one is China. And China's, we can say, a superpower position that it has built on the reforms that it undertook from 1980s, right? So it is not just a one day process, or not just a 1 year or a 5 year or a 10 year process. It has been a long process which has enabled them to put, let's say, be in this particular position for today. But what we have witnessed in China as well, that they are trying to, we can say ना, एक बात नहीं करते हैं, वो डराने का काम करते हैं, बुली कर रहे हैं अपने नेबर्स को. What they have done in Malaysia, Philippines as well, and the second thing, what they are doing in line of actual control as well, what they have done in Sri Lanka as well, what they have done in Pakistan as well, right? So on the face of it, with their maritime Silk Road initiative or the Silk Road initiative, but what has been witnessed by the countries that are become a part of it, that somehow it leads to the debt trap that Sri Lanka is right now in possession of. And second thing is that what it promised originally in the face of it, that was employment, but that hasn't been guaranteed to it. Consider the situation of Pakistan, where it has created a lot of problems, even though there has been a lot of development that has taken place along the route of China-Pakistan economic corridor. So yes, we can say that China is the biggest security anxiety. If we see India as well, because India wants a neighborhood first policy, that it is safety first policy. But what we have seen over here, कि चाइना की अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं, चाइना के साथ हमारे skirmishes खत्म नहीं हो रहे हैं और वो काफी टाइम से बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, right? So that is why they have said that it is a biggest security anxiety for India and Australia. Okay, moving to the next part. I hope these two articles are clear to everybody. That is, one is related to governor and one is related to China. Okay, now I think the article है related to end of a dream run, right? I wasn't able to come yesterday, so well played Team India, right? But yes, so this is the thing that one shall take inspiration from. I will tell you one thing. ठीक है, थोड़ा out of the context topic है. देखो, India won 10 out of the 10 matches, league matches, right? Everything, they won semi-final, but they wasn't able to win the final. So India, what they, well, let's say, what was the outcome? The outcome is simply India didn't win the World Cup. So one thing you have to address over here is that UPSC somehow like this particular World Cup only, but it has 3 stages: prelims, mains, and interview. It's not okay if you clear only prelims. It's not okay if you clear only mains. It is only okay when you have the desired result in front of you. Yet, yes, I have secured a rank. This shall be the thing that you shall about understand, right? ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इस पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन के लिए और बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी भी है आप लोगों को समझना कि इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू क्रॉस दैट पर्टिकुलर फिनिश लाइन, राइट? सो आई होप यू विल टेक इंस्पिरेशन फ्रॉम दिस, दैट you have to give your absolute 110% if you are serious about this particular exam. Okay, now making sense of the employment challenge. Now one of the things that they have tried to discuss over here is, I will try to tell you in a very simple manner so that you guys are able to understand. यहां पे इन्होंने 2 चीजों की बातचीत करी है. पहली चीज, द स्टेटमेंट दैट वाज मेड बाय नारायण मूर्ति जी रिलेटेड टू 70 आवर्स ऑफ वर्क चैलेंज, राइट? 70 आवर्स अ वीक फॉर द यूथ, बिकॉज दे वांट इंडिया में तरक्की हो, इंडिया में ग्रोथ हो और उसके लिए हमारे देश में प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़े. टू इंक्रीज द प्रोडक्टिविटी ही हैड बेसिकली रिकमेंडेड दैट वी शैल हैव अ 70 आवर्स अ वीक. सो ही वाज कंसीडरिंग द एग्जांपल ऑफ जापान एज वेल एज साउथ कोरिया एज वेल, and we can say a lot of economies of the west as well, like Germany. Now one of the things that you have to understand is, when we talk about के 70 hours a week, अगर हम 70 hours a week की बात कर रहे हैं, let's say, then we have to provide employment to that particular person as well, so that we can, let's say, give them 70 hours a week. I think this point is clear to everybody. किसी से 70 hours काम कर, मतलब आप काम करने की सोच रहे हो, आपको कोई employment भी तो देगा 70 hours a week के लिए. So someone has to provide you 17 hours a week employment as well. So when I talk about 70 hours a week, who will provide that particular employment? One thing that you have to understand in this context is, let's say if I am an employee of a certain manufacturing sector, right? I employ people. So if there is a demand for 1,000 goods, let's say, then okay, it's for me to employ, let's say 100 people, right? But if the demand is very less, let's say of 100 goods, how I can, let's say, have 100 people as a employment thing, because that will not be feasible for me as well, because demand for goods is not coming. So one of the thing that is attributed over here is, ये जो प्रोडक्टिविटी है या जो ये एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, ये तभी काम करेगी जब सामने से डिमांड फॉर गुड्स होगी. सो दिस इज द थिंग दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. In India, when we talk about that, if we have to raise this particular standard of working up to 70 hours a week, we have to understand one thing, that we need to generate a demand for goods as well. Now you will be asking me, sir, why Germany ने कैसे किया, ये जापान ने कैसे किया? एक चीज वहां पे ध्यान से देखो कि जब जर्मनी और हम जापान की बात कर रहे हैं, दीज वर द कंट्रीज दैट वर फेसिंग द ब्रंट ऑफ द सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर. दीज वर द कंट्रीज दैट वर रिड्यूस टू रबल. जापान के ऊपर न्यूक्लियर बम हो रहे हैं, जर्मनी को पूरा खत्म कर दिया गया है आफ्टर द सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर. सो व्हाट वाज लेफ्ट इन जर्मनी एंड वी कैन से जापान, देयर वाज टोटल रबल, सब डिवास्टेशन थी, देयर वाज नो बिल्डिंग्स ओवर देयर, अ लॉट ऑफ रबल हैड टू बी क्लियर. सो दिस इज द थिंग दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. What worked in favor of Germany and Japan, that they were able to give, let's say, employment as well, and they were able to work more as well, कंसिडरिंग के डिमांड काम की बहुत ज्यादा थी कि रबल को क्लियर करना है. एज अ रिजल्ट देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ लेबर एज वेल दैट मूव्ड इन, लेट्स से दैट अ लॉट ऑफ इन्फ्लक्स ऑफ लेबर एज वेल that worked for very cheap as well. As a result, they were able to create an ecosystem. When we talk about that, they were able to give how many hours of employment, that they were able to give more long working hours of employment. Same is the story that you can relate it to South Korea as well. अगर हम साउथ कोरिया की बात करते हैं, उसके फीचर्स भी थोड़े से अगर हम बात करें, सिमिलर थे जर्मनी और जापान से लेके. ये भी वॉर से रिकवर कर रहे थे, पर इनकी वॉर डिफरेंट थी और इनको रिसर्जेंस के लिए कंसीडरेबल सपोर्ट मिल रही थी यूएसए से. दैट वाज एन अलाई. So one of the thing that you have to understand is that one of the three things that were one of the thing that was common among these three countries, when we talk about Germany, when we talk about Japan, when we talk about South Korea, it was the post-war reconstruction. So this is the thing that you have to understand. Now, what could be the thing that could be done for India? If it has to be done, you have to generate 70 hours week employment, right? अगर हम बात करते हैं, पहली चीज तो ये है कि आप ग्लोबल मार्केट को यूज कर रहे हो इंडियन इकोनॉमी को ग्रो करने के लिए. यही चीज है. इंडियन इकोनॉमी ग्रो कैसे होगी कि जब आपकी ग्लोबल मार्केट को आप यूज कर रहे हो. दूसरी चीज क्या है, दैट यू अलाउ दैट देयर शैल बी इंक्रीज इन द डिमांड फॉर गुड्स, दैट इज यू हैव टू इंक्रीज द एग्रीगेट डिमांड. If there would be aggregate demand, as an employer, I would be very satisfied that I could now employ more people, give them more hours, let's say, in order to particularly deliver the product that has been demanded from me. So this is the aspect that we have to understand, that when it comes to 70 hours a week, it is not just plain and white or black and white thing. It is a lot about economics that we have to understand. We have to understand how that thing particularly worked. अगर हम बात करते हैं जर्मनी, जापान और साउथ कोरिया में, और अगर हम इंडिया के कंटेक्स्ट की बात करें, इंडिया में इतना मुश्किल क्यों है? क्योंकि इंडिया में पहले तो हमें एग्रीगेट डिमांड जनरेट करवानी पड़ेगी. एंड नाउ इफ आई लुक एट द एग्रीगेट डिमांड, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट वर्क इन द फेवर ऑफ राइजिंग द एग्रीगेट डिमांड. देयर हैज टू बी मनी विद द पीपल. मनी कैसे आएगी भाई? रेपो रेट कम होगा, ठीक है, इन्फ्लेशन भी कम होनी चाहिए. सो दीज आर द सर्टेन एस्पेक्ट्स दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, राइट? सो इट इज, we can say, one of the debate that could be picked up in the future as well. But one of the thing that right now we shall be focusing in our economy is that yes, if India has to make sure that India has the long productivity, or the people or the workforce that are working as basically giving a certain productivity as well, we need to focus that one of the things that we have to go for is we need to invest in their human capital, that is health and education and skill, which is very important. Then only we can expect in the upcoming future that there would be a lot of, we can say, trained personnel that could be coming, healthy personnel that could finally give us the desired results that what we are looking for. I hope this article is clear to everybody. Now you have a very different viewpoint as well. So that has been brilliantly explained by this particular person, an economist, Palapre Balkrishnan, right? So this is the one thing that you can extract from this particular newspaper and this particular editorial. Post-war reconstruction, right? So I think that maybe next year means this might be one of the questions, because Narayan Murthy ji had started this debate, and now it would be, I think, taken up by UPSC as well. Hanji. Okay. Now this is related to fact check unit. I think we have already discussed, let's say, इनको बहुत बार डिस्कस किया कि गवर्नमेंट ने बोला था कि कोई भी न्यूज फेक है क्या नहीं है, इसको गवर्नमेंट की फैक्ट चेकिंग यूनिट एस्टैब्लिश करेगी. सो दैट वाज डन बाय प्रेस इंफॉर्मेशन ब्यूरो in case of center. Now Tamil Nadu government has also come up with certain particularly, we can say, fact check unit, right? So ये गवर्नमेंट का जो ऑर्डर है बेसिकली ये अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है, क्योंकि आप ही एग्जीक्यूटर हो, आप ही लेजिस्लेटर हो, और आप ही जुडिशरी का काम कर रहे हो, जज का भी काम कर रहे हो. सो देयर इज नो सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर. If when we talk about separation of power, it is a very important prerogative and important part of our democracy as well, that there needs to be separation of power between legislature, executive and judiciary. If all the things, if are the, let's say, अगर हम बात करते हैं सब कुछ ही किसके हाथ में है, गवर्नमेंट के हाथ में ही है, so how it can be a part of democracy. Second thing you have to understand is, when I talk about this fact checking unit, so what is trying to do is it will try to censor what they want, let's say, people to hear, and what they don't want people to hear, what they want people to express and what they don't want people to express. So it would be a part on the government that they, what they want, that shall be the things that shall be written, published, or let's say viewed as well. So as the result, it is directly violating your 19(1), that is freedom of speech and expression. Now one of the things that you have to understand is, yes, this is not an uncontrolled right, this is a controlled right, where there are certain obligations that needs to be fulfilled when you are expressing something, right? When you are given freedom of speech and expression given in 19(1), this is basically, we can say, 19(2) के अंदर उनके अंदर restrictions भी हैं in the name of sovereignty, integrity of India, security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation, or incitement to an offense. And I'm telling you, you have to remember and, let's say, understand each of these particular, we can say, restrictions that is being imposed on 19(1), right? So this is not a different thing that you have to understand, but the basic thing you have to understand is this is very, very important to understand, right? Okay. Now, one of the things that also you need to understand is कि right now what we have seen is, yes, there is lot of fake news that is going on. ये हम देखते हैं, काफी टाइम हमने देखा है कि जो सोशल मीडिया पे प्रेजेंट किया जाता है वो ज्यादातर अकाउंटेबल नहीं होता, वो एक साइड ऑफ द स्टोरी दिखाता है जो कि बिल्कुल गलत भी हो सकती है, बिल्कुल सही भी हो सकती है, राइट? सो दैट इज द थिंग दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. यस, एवरीथिंग इज नॉट, वी कैन से, इन लाइन विद द प्रॉपर, वी कैन से, ट्रूथ नहीं होता है. बट if a government is the one that is basically now checking the thing, so government gets a lot of powers. It can suppress the opposition as well, it can suppress an individual opinion as well, it supposes, or let's say suppresses the people's expression to criticize any, let's say, constructive criticism against the government as well, right? So there are a lot of things that are against the healthy principles of a representative democracy and an expressive democracy. I hope this article is clear to everybody, right? You can use these points and make sure whenever an article or a question is asked, you have a relevant points. ठीक है, ये इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस है, हम काफी बार डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, इसको बार बार डिस्कस करना जरूरी नहीं है. ओके, now these are all the things we have already discussed. Australia draws a line between peaceful protest and violence and vandalism, right? So they are talking about the relationship between, we can say, India and Australia. So one thing is obviously there, that it's a very great, we have relation. We had also had an economic partnership with them that was signed last year, that related to, we can say, 90% of the goods have a free access to each other's countries as well, right? Now, one of the things that you have to understand is that Australia has taken a principled stand on the India-Canada row, says Canberra will always respect India's sovereignty. So one of the things that you have to understand is that they have stood with us in this particular time when they had said in context of India and Canada that it would be India's sovereignty and they will respect that as well, right? So these are the important things that we can draw from India-Australia relationship, that we have a great deal of relationship. Okay. Now US envoy has said Israel Hamas conflict may hit connectivity initiatives, right? ये तो बात होनी थी. India Australia ties to benefit the security of, we can say, Indo Pacific. We have already discussed this, right? सबको पता है कि क्या issue है यहाँ पे, and everyone has a certain viewpoint as well. Okay, now these are all the political articles. Nothing important over here, right? Okay, so this is a, we can say, presidential runoff in Argentina, Israel and Gaza. We know this thing. China keen to extend Myanmar economic corridor to Sri Lanka. We know what is happening over here, right? Okay. Subsidies to spur growth for now, investment to take off post 2024 polls. Now, Goldman Sachs, one of the important firm that we have, it has said that India's spending on subsidies and the rural employment guarantee are expected to rise ahead of the election, while private investments likely will rebound post poll. The firm forecasts that RBI may cut interest rate only towards the end of 2024, let's say, as inflation will remain elevated about 5.1%. So they are making general predictions about the various things that we have right now in front of us related to subsidies, related to investment, right? A lot of things have come over here, but one of the things you have to understand is, yes, it's the time of the election, so this would be the time when subsidies would be on the rise. That we already know that Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, under which we are providing free, let's say, fruit grains to the needy people, around 80 crore people. So yes, it is a time where the pressure on subsidies will increase and there would be more and more subsidies. But the Goldman Sachs is saying that after 2024, there might be a rebound and we can see private investment coming through that would be driving the GDP growth. Okay, nothing important over here, right? Moving to the next part. ओके, अब ये ना, वैसे तो मेरे ख्याल से जो मैथ्स ऑप्शनल लेते हैं, किसी का है मैथ्स ऑप्शनल जो हमारे पास ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स हैं अभी? आई थिंक फॉर देम इट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? बाकी नॉर्मल अगर हम बात करें, लेट्स से इट इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द नॉर्मल यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स, बट दोज हु हैव द मैथ्स ऑप्शनल, it is very important for them to look at this article because it is talking about a Langland's program, which is basically about, we can say, to find connection between the number theory and harmonic analysis, right? Very important, right? दो चीजों के बारे में डिस्कस किया है, नंबर थ्योरी एंड हार्मोनिक एनालिसिस. नाउ व्हाट इज दिस नंबर थ्योरी? आई थिंक सबको पता है, पाइथागोरस एग्जांपल एक उसकी बेसिक होती है, a square plus b square equal to c square. And when we talk about harmonic analysis, it is interested in the study of periodic phenomena. Unlike the number theories who deal with discrete arithmetics, harmonic analysis deal with the mathematical objectives more continuous in nature. So those who are, let's say, into the maths optional, please read this article. This is just for you guys, right? बाकी अपना टाइम वेस्ट मत करना इस पे, because this is related to a particular problem, Langland problem, and it has been basically discussed over here, right? So UPSC is also now catering to the maths option students, so best of luck UPSC maths option students. Okay, good morning sir, can you please tell me about the issue of Myanmar and refugee crisis? देखो सुशांत, one of the thing you have to understand is कि म्यांमार में ना जनता रूल चल रहा है, somehow kind of a military rule. So as a result there are lot of factions that have now been created. There are one people who are pro democracy, one who are authoritarian, one is who are the civilian protests that have been taking over here, one are the ethnic protests that have been taking over there, right? So as a result we have a problem, we can say, जो हमारे म्यांमार से refugees, मुझे नाम नहीं याद आ रहा, एज अ रिजल्ट पीपल हैव माइग्रेटेड अवे फ्रॉम दैट पर्टिकुलर एरिया, बिकॉज वहां पे अगर हम बात करें मिलिट्री टाइप रूल चल रहा है, डिक्टेटरशिप टाइप रूल चल रहा है, राइट. सो एज अ रिजल्ट दिस इज क्रिएटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम एज वेल. हाँ जी. और किसी का कोई डाउट? राइट गाइज, सो दिस इज इट फॉर टुडे. I hope you were able to understand the today's newspaper, right? I also want to come and have, let's say, live to live interaction with you guys as well. But it just like unfortunately that I haven't been able, let's say, feeling well. Have a very bad fever yesterday. Still have fever, but I'm trying my best, right? I recover well and get to see you. Let's say, get to see you guys, right? Any doubt you have, you can ask me. हाँ जी गाइस, कोई डाउट है तो आराम से पूछ लीजिए. अभी मैं यहीं पे हूँ आप लोगों की, लेट्स से, खिदमत और सेवा में. Okay guys, thank you so much. See you tomorrow, same time. If my health permits, 9 a.m. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Enjoy.